So now to learn what it is that you can do, I'm happy to introduce our communications chair for Prescott Indivisible, Jeff Daverman.
Yeah. What up? Hey, can I get you to make some noise for democracy? Can I get you to make some noise for the idea that the people of the United States choose our leaders? As of today, there are 299 days until the election of 2022. And I really appreciate seeing y'all here tonight. But we got 299 more days. 298, I guess. And so 2022 is going to be a year of engagement, folks, because democracy itself hangs in the balance.
We will win. The good guys will win. Not the fashion.
Tomorrow night is the first general meeting. The first general meeting for Prescott Indivisible of 2022. And so I think that Emmy here is going to hand out a little slip, but what we want is for a robust attendance because we have opportunities for engagement starting as soon as tomorrow. And there's going to be a whole lot more this year, but we got no time to waste. We got no time to lose. So please register, and I'll be happy to see you on Zoom at the GM tomorrow, and we will move forward from there. Now, legendary Hall of Fame baseball pitcher Satchel Paige was quoted once as saying, "You win a few, you lose a few, and some get rained out. But you got to dress for all of them." One of the more respectable Republicans in American history by the name of Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah. Teddy.
He said this here: "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong stumble or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the one who actually is in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error or shortcoming, but who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if they fail, at least they fail while daring greatly." So that is the place that shall never be with those cold and timid souls who knew neither victory nor defeat. It's called The Man in the Arena. I paraphrased it a little bit because women and non-binary people, it's time for them to not be overlooked and underappreciated anymore, because the woman in the arena can have just as big and does have just as big of a contribution.
Even though my husband's here.
In 1915, labor rights leader Joe Hill, who was in many ways the spiritual leader of the labor movement at the turn of the last century, because he was the one who wrote the songs that allowed the tens of thousands of workers, the Wobblies, to express themselves with one voice. In 1915, Joe Hill was sitting in a prison cell awaiting his execution. And he got a letter from his friends, the other labor leaders of the time, and they were very despairing because of the fate that Joe Hill was about to realize. And he sent a letter back, his last correspondence of his life, and what he told them. Don't spend your time mourning. Organize. Civil rights icon John Lewis, in the last year of his life, he made a tweet. Tweet says, "Do not get lost in a sea of despair. Be hopeful. Be optimistic. For our struggle is not the struggle of a day, or a week, or a month, or a year. Our struggle is the struggle of a lifetime." Never be afraid to get in good trouble, necessary trouble. Friends, the echoes through history of people who made great sacrifices that we are the beneficiaries of are telling us very clearly one thing: show up. Show up. Not just on one day. Because right now democracy hangs in the balance and there isn't anybody else that's going to save it. This is our time. Now, I know that it seems kind of dire and kind of grim in a lot of ways, right? But at the same time, I'm really grateful to be here today. We have good lives here because we're the beneficiaries of the people who did the work before us. And the question is are the future generations going to be able to say the same thing about us? Friends, we did not lose last year on January 6th.
That's right.
The story is not over.
That's right.
Our chapter has yet to be written.
Woo! Like that.
And I'm grateful to be here, and I think that recognizing that all we have, I think is part of the reason why we're all here today, because we recognize what the stakes are, not just for our own lives, but for the future generations, that we want to pass down what the former generations gave to us. And so I'll tell you, we are in a consequential time in the history of our country right now, aren't we?
Yes.
And not only are we in a consequential time in the history of our country, but right here is a consequential place.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Friends, I don't have to convince any of you that northern Arizona is the front lines
Yes, it is. Yes.
against big lie enabling white nationalism. And so here we are on the front lines, friends, and I am grateful to be here because you know what? Consequential time plus consequential place, you know what that means? That means what we do matters. That's right. That means that we got to show up. It's up to us. Now, the thing is that being on the front lines against big lie enabling white nationalism, what that means is that we are also on the front lines of the nonviolent revolution. That's right. And our values mean that we are equipped for this fight. Okay? And I am proud to stand alongside each of you as we engage in the nonviolent revolution to save our democracy. All right? Now look, I want to leave you tonight with a reminder, okay? It's like this. In every moment, gratitude. Forget the farce and platitudes. Align instead your attitude to all vibrations positive. Rejecting fear and pledge to live a life whose wealth is what you give. A heart whose health imperative. May wisdom guide the narrative through this present lucid dreaming, the universe not so gently screaming. Appreciation, consideration, empathy, and compassion. These are the things you do not have to ration. Transcendent egos called to action. The law of love is gaining traction. Heed the call, O mortal conduit. Feel the flow and know to roll with it. Feed the soul. Let go the bullshit. Cut those ties and recognize the lies. The illusion of separateness is but a disguise. When you see through that what's true has been defaced, negativity displaced, the need for violence erased. And when there is space to ponder grace, yourself reflected in another one's face. Yourself reflected in another one's face, the place to embrace simultaneously, to agree to seek common humanity, to share the same air and dare greatly, inspired by the mystery. Beyond him or her or them or me. In order to be free, we already hold the key. Applying awareness on the conscious frontier with a deep understanding that love is greater than fear. Empowering voices and subsequent choices, this guidance is strident and abundantly clear. With no reservation, this revelation's a distinguished creation of reciprocation. Shout it out, I'll say it to every nation. Your behavior is your best illustration. By being the light in the night of unknowing, with hope as the scope of consciousness glowing, harvesting love from the seeds that we sow, nonviolent revolution continues to grow. Nonviolent revolution continues to grow. Nonviolent revolution continues to grow. Yeah, that's right. That's right, y'all. Now look, before we leave tonight, there's one thing that I need you to show your community.